Hi, welcome to another episode of Comics Review. I'm your host, Kevin Starkey. The first comic I'm going to talk about today is Near Death, issue number 3 from Image Comics. The writer on this is Jay Farber, I guess you pronounce it, and I won't even try to say the artist's name. Simone, it's an Italian name, I can't pronounce. But this, I'm really enjoying this series. If you like crime, noir type, if you ever watched the show Spencer for Hire or detective shows like that, this series reminds me of those a lot. And there's an overarching story of the main character. His name is Markham, and the first issue, you sort of get his story of his motivation of what's motivating to do what he's doing, and then each subsequent issue there's sort of a thing, some person that he's trying to save, and he gets involved in that story trying to save them, and that little story is wrapped up by the end of that issue. And it's not funny, it's not a ton of action. There's some action scenes in there, but he was like a contract killer, and some event happened in the first issue that I don't want to spoil, that completely changed his outlook on life, what he wants to do with his life, and basically now he wants to save people, to prevent them from dying, and that's his new mission in life, and it's really good. I mean, it's very character driven. He's I guess he's a sociopath, so you start to see, inside his head a lot. The killing didn't bother him and never has, and he doesn't really feel anything from what he's doing, but there's a reason why he's changed his mind. You got to read the first issue to get that. Definitely love this series. The artwork in here, very gritty, very reminds me of that Criminal, that comic. The style, the coloring, really, it's a very grown-up comic, but not in a graphic sense like nudity or anything like that, or cursing. It's just very serious, and it's a good read. I'm really enjoying it. And then in the back, he's got this in issue 2 and 3, he's got this Dodges Trouble. It's just a story. It's a couple pages long. It's just, it's another kind of a detective type story that he just wanted to include, I guess. That's really good too. I really enjoyed that as well. I thought in the end here, it says the end on the last scene there, and I thought, oh, this is the end of it. That's kind of cool. I enjoyed it. But then in the back here, it says like issue 4, something up, issue 4 somewhere. Yeah. So apparently it's not over, which is fine because I'm enjoying it quite a lot. So highly recommend this series. I definitely would have to give it a 5 out of 5. It's really excellent series. Now the next one I'm going to talk about, this is Jack Avarice is the Courier. I've talked about this a number of times. Each issue came out in November, each Wednesday, weekly, and it's sort of this dreamer guy that he dreams about having a life as mystery, and sort of like a James Bond type character, and he gets thrust into this life, and his title now is the Courier, and I love the artwork in this series. Really neat style. This final issue doesn't really wrap things up, and they end it by telling you there's going to be another series after this, which that too is also fine with me. Because I enjoy this series quite a lot. Here's the ending here. It says end of book 1. Kill the messenger. Jack Avarice will return in book 2. Carry me home. So there's a lot. His father and brother and other relatives were in this business, and he never knew about it. And so throughout this series, he's becoming the Courier. Each one, he's gaining skills and he's getting better at it, and learning more about his past. And there's a girl that he's working with, and there's some interplay between the two of them. Definitely like this series quite a lot. I thought it was just going to be a 5-issue thing and it'd be over with, and that's cool. I'm definitely going to pick up the next one for sure. It's really a fun series. If you like, James Bond type stuff with a little snarky, humor in there, I think you would enjoy it. Definitely highly recommend it. Another 5 out of 5. It's really great. The writing's good. The artwork's good. Can't recommend it enough. Now, here is The Last Zombie by Brian Keene. I've talked about this series also a number of times. This is from Antarctic Press. This is Inferno. There was another series before this. I don't know if it had a subtitle or not. And I've talked a couple of times about it. This ends, and it, as I expected, there's another series coming after this, The Last Zombie Neverland, which I'm sure I'll get, but it's still frustrating because I want a conclusion to this story. I want to be able to move on to the next thing. It's the artwork is black and white. In the last couple of issues, I felt the artwork declined, the quality of it. I'm not as big a fan of this as I was of earlier ones. It just seems like less detailed, and I don't know. I'm not a fan of it. I don't want to insult anyone, but it's just not my style. I prefer the older art style. This one is Inferno, and it's leading up to, they're heading, this group of survivors are trying to reach another outpost on the East Coast. They're coming from California, I think, and they run into this big, inferno, and they can't go to the north because there's like atomic, fallout or whatever. And then to the south, there's a bunch of gangs and stuff that they, for some reason, want to avoid. So they decide they have to go through this inferno. So in this issue, they start heading into the fire, and it's the story. There's a lot of character interactions in this series as a whole, and there's not really any zombies. The zombies are all gone. But one of the characters in here, a doctor, he is hiding the fact that he has contracted the virus that leads to the zombie thing. And he is taking medicine that he himself developed that is not perfect, so it can't wipe it out, but it's prolonging his life as a non-zombie, basically. And it just sort of ends, I don't want to spoil too much of it, but it's it's an ongoing series, and the writing's great. I like the story. I just was hoping for a quick resolution to the story, but I didn't get that, and I wasn't expecting it really. I was just kind of hoping for it, but I can't rate that a 5 like the other two, because of the artwork. I'm not too happy with the artwork. The writing and the story are great. I don't want to give it such a bad mark. I would call it a 4 out of 5, maybe 3.5. But that's mostly due to the artwork. If it was the old artist, I would definitely rate it a 5 out of 5. Great story and great writing. The next comic I want to talk about, this is Pariah. This is issue number 4 from Sea Lion, I think is the name. Sea Lion Books, yeah. And this series overall, this is from Aaron Warner, is the writer. He comes from movies or something, I think. This is going to be a 12-issue series. They explain in the back here. Um, it's a it's almost, it reminds me a lot of X-Men, how there are these people who are mutants. In here, these people are called Vitros, um, and they're basically just a bunch of super geniuses. And society's a little bit afraid of them. Some event happened in an earlier issue that some of these Vitros were blamed for, and this one guy in this issue, his name's Franklin, I think. Um, he steps up, and his parents are involved in politics and stuff, and they've kept his existence as a Vitro a secret from everyone. And he decides to just make it known that he's one, and that he's in here. He talks with his parents, and he negotiates with them to try to round up the Vitros, and and have his parents like work with the government, and find a place where they can all go and live in peace and be left alone, and that he will be sort of a spy, and get information that they learn, because they're going to have this perfect environment, and they're all going to work on these brilliant ideas and things, and he'll help them get some money out of this, passing information on to the regular humans, I guess. But his motives are to try to help these people, really. So um, he organizes that, and his parents help him, and then it takes a weird twist at the end that I was not seeing at all, which I loved. Um, and the first three issues, I was thinking, where's this thing going? It's kind of cool. It's kind of a neat idea, but it wasn't really going anywhere. This issue, it went there, and I loved it. It's got a weird art style, weird coloring, weird art, but it kind of works for the story. I don't mind it at all. I've read a few other comics that had a similar style. I'm wondering if it's the same artist. I need to look into that. I'm not sure. I recognize the name though for sure. Brian Waddell, I think is Weldell. I'm not sure how you say his name. Oh, Brett. I'm sorry, Brett Waddell. Definitely a good series. It just got really good for me. So based on this issue, I would have to rate it a good 4.5 out of 5. Art's pretty weird, but I like it okay. And the writing and the story are really good. Definitely got great with this issue. And then let me quickly go over the other comics. Two of these my wife read, and I want to just briefly mention a bit about what she said. Here's Mouse Guard, the Black Axe. This is from Archaea. It's issue 3 of 6, and it has to have been 6 months or more since issue 2 was out. I'm not sure. This is from David Peterson. I think he does everything on this, the art and everything, the writing. And we both are enjoying this series quite a lot, and we've read it to our daughter, and she seems to enjoy it. The one issue my wife mentioned with this was the font, or whatever, the lettering that takes place in this is very challenging to read. You feel like you have to work a lot to figure out what the words are, and it's sort of written in an old English or Middle English, sort of an archaic dialogue that my wife commented. She said it doesn't bother her at all to read that, but the lettering is a challenge, I guess you would say. Loves the series, and I'm enjoying it. I haven't read this issue yet, but I'm looking forward to reading it. But overall, it's an excellent series, and we'd read a couple of the other series, a Mouse Guard series. And George R. R. Martin, Game of Thrones. This is issue 3. I'm not sure how many there's going to be, but from Dynamite Entertainment. And my wife has read the novels, the first one, and I'm not sure if she's finished with the second one yet or not. But she loved the novels. We haven't seen the show yet, but she read through this issue and loved it. The artwork's great. She said it follows along with the book very well. A lot of stuff is left out. It's moving along at a fast pace, though, according to her. So, but she likes it. She says it's really good. They're only leaving out things that maybe aren't important important for the story. So I've enjoyed the other 2 issues, and I'm looking forward to reading this one. And we want to get the series on DVDs, so that'll be another way to catch up with more of the details, I think. Here's Skull Kickers issue number 12 from Image. Fun read. I like that series a lot. Haven't read that issue yet. And here's Star Trek number 3 from IDW. The Galileo 7 Part 1. I think the series is taking stories from the original series and putting the people from the movie, the most recent movie, in as the characters. At least the way they're drawn. So I'm enjoying that. I'm kind of a Trek fan. And then The Walking Dead Weekly number 48. Shocker. That's it for this week. Please leave a comment here on YouTube or over on my blog at twodognight.net. Let me know what you're reading. Have you read any of the stuff I talked about? And I'll see you probably in 2 weeks. Take care.